Nick, I have to ask, since you and Grange were just talking about this, is there like an NBA coach's beard competition going on? It's
I don't think so, but I know that from our head coaches call, there's quite a few going. You know, the COVID beard is a thing, that's for sure.
in my actual real question. So many coaches, Nick, around the league in these Zoom calls have referenced at one point or another what they've learned and how appreciative they've been of Brian Stevenson's input with you guys on some of the calls. What have you taken away from some of just his stories and how, I guess, how valuable a coach he's been for the coaches going into this?
Yeah, I mean, obviously his knowledge and just all the history and things that you know, geez, I'm like a lot of people, especially you know, a lot of white coaches. There's a lot of black African American history that we've never heard of, and a lot of people haven't. And he's certainly sharing, you know, just so much of that stuff. I think is the main thing, and it's and you know, it kind of veers you off to do your own, you know, bits of research and reading and things like that. And I don't know really what to say other than it's for me it's been eye opening and frankly kind of alarming, really, that there's so much out there that the education system has veered away from and failed to teach, and I think it's a huge emphasis point that'll really help with all the movement we're making right now.
Next, we're going to go to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Nick, how are you, sir? Thanks for doing this.
I'm good, Doug. Thank you.
Good. First, further to that conversation with Tim just now, are there Canadian aspects of the message you want to get across? I understand that coaches may use their post-game time to enlighten people and educate and help this process along. Are there Canadian-specific things that you might address?
I don't know, Doug. I think that I've shared with you guys before that I've, you know, talked to, you know, like Jamal McGlure on our staff is a great resource, guy that, you know, grew up in Toronto and spent a lot of time in the States and now back in Toronto. And then one of the first questions I asked on one of our coaches calls was why is there such a difference, right? And also, Doug, I mean, I wouldn't really know how to approach it if you want me to just be honest with you. I think that you also know that, you know, when I was standing up there on the stage at the championship parade, I said, you know, the famous quote from Bono was, "The world needs more Canada," and it just got it. And I think, you know, in both the racial equality and the pandemic, the world could look to Canada for some guidance and leadership.
And if I may just follow up now to the basketball side of things, you're coming to the end of a very odd couple of weeks of individual group workouts and nothing 5-on-5. How are you guys? Is everybody getting better, getting through this? And what's it been like in these last 12 days, I guess?
Well, first and foremost, Doug, we've been safe and done well there. That's been good. Let's keep you know, we're not gonna count any chickens, that's for sure. I think each day of testing that goes by, you've got a bit of anxiety to get that email at night from the doc and see what the results are. So first and foremost, that's been good. And we've been solid, Doug. I really like the individual work that especially a lot of our young guys have gotten. I think it's been way more consistent. I mean, when you're not flying and playing and games interrupting and there's late flights where you need a day off the next day, it's just been a consistent block of work, both in the weight room and in the on the court. Obviously, nutrition, all that stuff has been, you know, as good as it can be. And they've had great attitudes. I haven't sensed hardly any boredom or waning or, oh, not another day of 1-on-0 work. I've sensed great energy, great professionalism, the vibe in the gym, even though it's different. is still pretty good. You know, we still got our music playing, and you look across the floor and guys are working and sweating and getting better. So it's been probably a pleasant surprise and a pleasant experience so far.
Great. Thanks, Nick, very much.
Yep.
Next, we're going to Josh Lewenberg from TSN.
Nick, how you doing?
Hi, Josh. Good.
After sort of a 2-week taste of what life might be like when you do get into the bubble, has your opinion on it changed at all? Are you any more confident that things will go smoothly, less confident, equally as confident?
Let's not get overconfident, but let's say slightly more confident. I just think that to me, Josh, it feels like we're in a safe environment, right? It feels like we're really, I mean, we're going a long ways out of our way to make it extra safe, as we should. And I think a lot, that contributes to it. We really are in the hotel. We're confined. We're away from everything. We're it's just cleaning all over the place. There's, everybody's wearing masks, and we go to the gym, and there's cleaning, and we come back. I mean, it feels it feels really safe. I mean, that's good. And I would imagine we go in there, and I think the early stages and early days of the Disney thing are critical, getting a whole bunch of testing done and getting kind of to a point there. And I think it'll be all done at a really high level and remain fairly safe. I hope I'm right. Again, this is no time to say, oh, it's you really don't know, but I would say I feel much more safe than maybe I thought I was going to. Maybe
one more for you. We haven't been able to speak to Kyle yet. I know you guys haven't been able to practice, but from what you've seen in him from the workouts, how's he looking so far?
Yeah, he's really, he comes into camp always, I think in great shape and full of energy and feisty and all that stuff. And he's going at it. He's working extremely hard very early in the morning and in all facets, his conditioning, his shooting. He's good. He looks good, and his workouts have been excellent.
Make sure to tell him we say hi, okay? Thanks, Nick.
I will.
Next question goes to Michael Grange from Sportsnet.
Nick, thanks for doing this. Typically going into a training camp, a coaching staff will plot it all out and have, try and create a mood, a culture, atmosphere. This is, I think, you're going into your third training camp this year. Are you running out of tricks? And what are some of the things that you're doing are planning to try and keep things fresh and vibrant?
Something, Michael, I'm kind of going into this thing open-minded. I would say my planning is very lean or loose, to be honest with you. I want to see kind of where we're at the first day or so before I kind of say, okay, I see where we're at, I see where we're going, and now I'm going to have to get down and kind of chart the next week or 10 days out. And I don't really know where we're at. I mean, I can see individually, I think we look, really good. But what will that translate to when we get back into, calling plays and running defenses and doing some things and where are we going to need to go from there? But I mean, I would assume, Michael, they're once they give us a chance to play and have multiple people on the floor, I would assume the guys are going to want to get up and down. I could see very short in comparison to maybe a regular training camp where you might take up a big portion of the first 90 minutes might be a lot of drill work. I could see very short chunks of drill work and getting right to the 5-on-5 play. I know that I'm sensing they really want to play basketball. I don't think they want to do drills. So it may be a little different where you drill short, scrimmage long, early, just to get that feel, and then go back and drill a little bit longer on the things you think you need to do.
On player development, who do you think is going to most benefit out of what you guys are going through right now? And when it comes to player development, are guys working still specifically on their games, what they want to get to maybe in a year or two, or is it more focused on how can this player help us in this next 6 weeks?
Yeah, really good question, Michael. I think it's hard. It's hard to answer the first one. Who's gonna benefit most from it? I don't really know the answer to that. I think there could be, a number of guys. I think that taking what you're doing in player development to the game is always some guys do it better than others, and some guys hit it and some guys don't, and you got to kind of go back. So that one's difficult to answer. But I would say on the second part of your question, there's some things that we've treated more long term than short term. You know how we like to tweak with some mechanics and shooting, and there was a few guys that we would have not done as the season was ending and into the playoffs. We would have waited to the summer to do, but to me, this is our summer and player development time for these younger guys in particular, and that part's been going excellent. I think that there's some fairly major tweaks to a few guys, things that we're doing, and they've taken it on board. They've adjusted to it pretty quickly. We're seeing kind of rapid improvement already in some things, and then we'll see what happens when we get to game time with them. But we're more focused on certain guys for a little bit further down the road.
And I'll sneak in a quick one. A lot of young guys don't get much 5-on-5 time with the full roster, and let alone the amount of practice time you guys are going to get. What opportunity does this present for overall them, a kind of more seamless growth period than they're maybe used to?
Yeah, I mean, I'm hoping, Michael, that you've seen kind of how we do kind of our main practice, and then there's a lot of group, maybe eight or nine guys that stay and do almost another type of group work. I'm hoping they can get in a bunch of that. And I'm also hoping we can get them in some action too, one way or another. We've got 3 scrimmages. We've got three scrimmages and 8 games. So, I'm hoping we can take a look at some of these guys. You guys know I really like O'Shea, and I haven't really seen Paul yet. I'm hoping to get to know him and see him a little better too at some point if we can work it out.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Next, we're going to Eric Kareen from The Athletic.
Hey, Nick. Thanks for taking the time. A few questions. First, just to make you feel comfortable, everybody's healthy and available to participate in training camp as of now?
Yep.
Okay.
Starting lineup is no. Just
when we were talking earlier to players in the past week, Pascal sort of said it's the longest he's gone without touching a basketball since he started playing. Matt Thomas said, while he was in Toronto, before he got to Wisconsin, he had gone almost 2 months without touching a basketball, and he had gone, 2 weeks since he could remember. Is that of any concern to you? Getting rhythm and flow back?
Well, I would say it may have been more of a concern, Eric. I think I look at what those 2 guys are doing in their workouts now, and again, they both look great. So I would imagine there's with everybody there'll be a little bit of rhythm adjustment from the game, conditioning and rhythm and remembering sets and all that kind of stuff. That'll take some time as well. But I wouldn't have known. Look, if you walk in the gym this morning and watch those 2 guys work out, you wouldn't have known they missed 2 months without touching a ball, I don't think.
And you touched on this when my colleague Michael Grange asked this, but players, just because of the nature of what we've been through, are going to come in different shape and different conditioning. How do you sort of streamline the process so it works for everybody?
Well, I think you go. It's what you got a bunch of guys here for, Eric. I think you want to get to a point, and you tell the guys, hey, listen, you gotta be kind of honest with us and honest with yourself. If you're tired, you need to get out and grab your breath, and we obviously put somebody in there and monitor that. But Alex McKechnie and his crew has got a good feel on where everybody is, and then there'll be a point where you got to say, hey, coach, I'm tired. I need to come out. You're going to say, well, we need you to push through a little bit here. There's a balancing point here to extend the cardio and just the legs and just kind of confidence of how long and how hard you can go. I mean, it's a concern. Like, I just think back of how hard we were playing and how fast Golden State was moving in those finals, right? And we're a long way away from that, but we need to somehow get back to that here at some point. So it's it's a good project for all of us to try and figure it out here in a fairly short amount of time.
Thanks, Nick. Safe travels to Disney.
Thank you, Eric.
Going to go back to Doug Smith from the Toronto Star.
Nick, just to sort of get away from basketball, you have a lot of players and people in your organization, you included, who are leaving behind young families. And the family separation issue, I think, is going to become an issue the longer you're away. What are you doing as an organization to help the players through this? And how are you handling being away from young kids and your family?
Well, Doug, I think that it's really another little part of the puzzle, right? And it's a big one. And like for me, I would say that it starts with conversation with when you're bumping into Fred or Kyle and you're asking them, how are the wife and kids and what are they doing and when is the last time you talked to them? There's a lot more of that going on than I would say normally would happen. It's not like we don't do it normally, but there's a lot more now because we're all, showing pictures and, whatever. And I just think, like, from my standpoint, it's another one of those things that you would be more lenient on. Like, I don't know, what's an example? Well, we're getting ready to start a meeting and right as that happens, somebody says, oh man, my kid's FaceTiming me. And you say, take it, go out in the hall and take it. We'll wait for you. Or what, or whatever. Like I think, sometimes hooking up with schedules and kids and stuff, and when those FaceTime calls come, you got to take them and drop everything you're doing. And then, to me, it's the same. Like, when I left, it is. I got a 3-year-old kid. He says, I'm gonna wait right here for you. He didn't quite understand how long I'm going to be gone. I told him I had to go coach some games, and he said, well, I'm going to wait right here for you. So I hope he's moved from that spot because it's going to be a while, I think. Hey, Doug, too, I just want to quickly circle back. I just want to, on your first question about, the Canada thing, I certainly don't want to give the impression that things are all rosy and rainbowy with racial equality in Canada. I just want to be clear on that. Canada certainly has their issues, as you and I both know, right? I just want to, and I'm, again, like I mentioned with Jamal and with my own process of trying to learn more about, the history of Canada and the history of the United States, kind of simultaneously.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I understand entirely. Great. Thanks, Nick. Appreciate your time.
No problem.
And final question today is going to go to Vivek Jacob from Complex.
Hey, Nick.
Vivek, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good.
I'm just curious. Adrian Griffin was on earlier, and he was talking about a big part of the players' development is you giving them the freedom to play through some of their mistakes. And so I just wanted to get a better feel for your thought process when it comes to that. Is it the players purely dictating sort of what their ceiling is, or do you have sort of any predetermined leash on where they're at with their games at certain points in time?
Well, it's a good question, and it's as you know, it's a fine line to kind of play through. You can't you can't really let a guy play through turnover after turnover after turnover after turnover, right? I mean, let's make sure we're clear about that. I think that mostly what if you can kind of get, is their heart in the right place? Is the spirit of what they're trying to do, in line with what we're trying to do overall? I mean, and it still doesn't quite go their way, I mean, then you can, to me, it's like that's all I'm really gauging is are they playing the way we want within our system? Are they playing extremely hard? Are they trying to make those and if they are, then you're going to say, hey, you know, you're not going to make every shot or make every perfect read or whatever, but you'll get there. You saw it a half a second too late, but next time you won't, or whatever it is. And I think that a lot of the hustle and hard play and all that stuff can make up for mistakes too. So I try to let them play through some stuff. I don't think there's any other way to grow, you know, and we got to grow. We got to grow them as fast as we can for our sake and their sake. And that's what we try to keep in mind.
Great. Just to follow up on that, Nick, I'm looking at, your home record 23-9, away record 23-9. Is that in any way indicative of a team that's unbothered by what happens outside of the 94 feet? And is that in any way indicative of what you can expect without fans, that it's not going to be a thing that they have to adjust to as much?
Would 23-9 be good enough on neutral to get us a Let's run it back. Let's get a third category of 23-9 if that's enough. It probably isn't. How many do we got to win? 24 rounds. We only got to win 16. Yeah, be a pretty good record. 23. We don't play that many games, do we? I mean, I would say just to be serious, I think that this team plays. I think you guys know that being on the road doesn't matter, and sometimes we're even better on the road. We obviously love playing at home and can get a good chunk of wins there. But I think it's a veteran team, it's a smart team, it's a tough team, and that usually holds you, home way or neutral.
Thanks a lot, Nick.
You're welcome.